Artificial Ascent is an extreme demon that came out back in 2.0 to become the new top 1 at that time. It was quite a revolutionary level as it pushed the boundaries of what a megacollab could be at that time. The creator lineup was stacked with the best creators in the game and arguably still one of the best bunch of creators today, as their work was timeless. I am a huge fan of this level from a pure visual standpoint, as I'm quite fond of a more tech-based decoration style, especially from the 2.0 to 2.1 era. But I've never stopped to really take a look at the individual creators' parts and rank them based on a brutally honest look into their decoration, detailing, and how it fits with the overall theme. Now before I get into it, this video is just my opinion and how I perceive the decorations. People might agree, people might disagree, and that is fine. I'm gonna rank these parts based on 3 things: decoration and detailing, how it fits in with the song, and how well it follows the technology theme out of 10. So without further ado, let's get to rating these parts. Codex's part is in the beginning 5% of the whole level, and in my opinion, it's probably the best way to introduce the level. Now in terms of decoration, there's nothing really special to it compared to the other parts in the level, but it does its job quite well. It uses a lot of details that fits with the tech theme like the orb deco, ground deco, and the background deco. The block design could be better, as using bricks for the main block is an interesting choice, but Codex definitely made it work with the color usage. But the main thing going for this part is the atmosphere. The song starts out sounding dark and mysterious, and I feel like this part definitely fits those descriptions well. The color palette of this part, along with the ambient glow, gives off some mysterious aura. The structures and the background decoration moving very slowly and floaty also fits how airy the music feels with the use of reverb. So for the decoration and detailing, I'm rating it a 7.83 out of 10. The music sync will be a 9.05 out of 10, and the theming will be 8.43 out of 10, giving it an overall average score of 8.44 out of 10. The next part of the codex is made by Manix, and in true Manix style, he nails the technology theming of his part. The color usage in his part is done quite well, fitting with the burst of energy that the song gives off at the drop. For the time, his block design is considered very good, containing a good amount of detail and using a wide variety of sometimes unconventional block palettes, but somehow making it tie in together very well, and this is no exception. There's also quite a bit of air deco that sells the tech theme even further, and the ship part with the rainbow effect is just a cherry on top. This is definitely one of the better parts of the level made by a legendary creator. So for that, I give the decoration and detailing an 8.42 out of 10, the music sync will be 8.17 out of 10, and the theming will be 8.83 out of 10, giving an average score of 8.48 out of 10. The following part of the Manix is made by a guy called Sanic, and to be honest, I really never heard anything about him apart from being involved in Artificial Ascent, and his part's quality reflects that. His part is the definition of generic. I mean, his block design is something you see in many other 2.0 levels at that time. While it doesn't look bad per se, it doesn't look good or inspiring either. The color usage is quite basic and minimal, having the whole part use one single color channel without any hue variations or anything different. This part also does almost nothing to try to fit with the song, so yeah, overall this part is just very mediocre. So the decoration and detailing, I give it a 4.64 out of 10, the music sync is 3.88 out of 10, and the theming is 5.79 out of 10, giving an average score of 4.77 out of 10. Poor display. I know that Hines has had some concerning allegations against him, but I'm only judging his decoration on the level and nothing else. I'm allowed to enjoy and like his decoration work in levels and be skeptical of his actions at the same time. Now anyways, if you heard what I said closely, you'll know that I really enjoy Hines' part in Artificial Ascent. He uses simple blocks and could make complex looking block designs and background deco with it, and this part is no exception. Now yes, his structures has some messy decoration, but it honestly gives me the impression of being in a circuit board or something, very intricate looking. It also keeps up that decoration quality all throughout the part, as there is a good amount of foreground and background deco with many different variations to keep the part looking fresh instead of lazily copy pasted. It does also fit in with the song very well, with fitting color changes and the different types of pulses going on. Overall, I'll argue that this is one of the best parts of the level. The decoration and detailing, I give it a 9.12 out of 10, the music sync is 8.24 out of 10, and the theming is 8.78 out of 10, giving an average score of 8.71 out of 10. Now, I remember hearing Anubis, who was the former host of the level, saying that Zobros didn't even decorate his own part and that he had to step in and decorate it himself. That really makes sense as the decoration in his part doesn't fit with Zobros' other works. This part is one of the weaker parts of the level decoration wise, as there is absolutely no color used besides grey and white, which doesn't make any sense as the song is still in its drop and hasn't changed from Heinz and Mannix's part. The decoration in this part is also quite simplistic but also lacks any coherence as every structure and background space has a different type of decoration, making the part feel very directionless and also barely fitting in with the level's theme. So yeah, definitely one of the weaker parts in the level, but it really makes me think how it would turn out if Zobros actually decorated the part himself, seeing what he would come up with. So the decoration and detailing is 4.25 out of 10, the music sync is 5.47 out of 10, and the theming I give it a 6.36 out of 10, giving an average score of 5.36 out of 10. This pains me to say, but Michigan's Spa did not age well compared to the rest. It's a shame because everyone knows that Michigan is a legend in this game, but sadly his part in Artificial Ascent just wasn't up to par with his other works. The only positive I can give to his part is his unique usage of the particle effects from the UFO and wave portals, which at that time, it's quite unique. He also uses a unique set of colors of bright orange and blue which stands out from the rest of the level. However, the other aspects of the part didn't age as well. I mean, his block design is as minimal as you can get, using one type of block over and over again with alternating colors, along with the very basic structures. There's also barely any detail in the part to further fit in with the tech theme of the level. So unfortunately I have to give the decoration and detailing a 5.22 out of 10, the music sync a 5.04 out of 10, and the theming 4.36 out of 10, giving an average score of 4.87 out of 10. It's a shame really.
Right, I'll tell you what, you fat little.
Weird name aside, I think Anthrax's part is actually quite underrated. In terms of theming, this part actually really nails it in that regard. Similar to Heinz's, the block design are very intricate, but Anthrax's part in particular uses a wider range of blocks and objects, which gives him a wider set of decorations, so no two structures really look the same. It also has a lot of glow objects, which works in this part's favor, really adding to the theming of the part. However, at certain parts, the air deco is a bit too cluttered that it can get in the way of the gameplay and throw off the player, as in motion, these details can blend in with each other, which could make it hard to see the intended path through the section. But aside from that, it's an underrated part honestly. The decoration and detailing, I give it a 7.61 out of 10, the music sync is 7.15 out of 10, and the theming is 8.78 out of 10, giving an average score of 7.85 out of 10. Ah yes, another OG in the creating scene. His part in the level definitely lives up to his status, as it is yet another amazing part that really fits with the theme of the level. The heavy usage of the blue color, blue details, and the wiring looking sections with the small blocks really sell the idea that the player is going through some sort of a mainframe or the core of a computer. While the block design hasn't aged the best, the amount of detail it has at certain points, along with the perfect theming, really overshadows those flaws, making this part a solid part overall. So the decoration and detailing, I give it an 8.21 out of 10. The music sync, I give it a 7.19 out of 10 because it doesn't really do anything special with it, and the theming is 9.11 out of 10, giving an average score of 8.17 out of 10. I mean, it being vibrant, I really have nothing much to say about this part. It's ironic how, being the host of the level, he himself couldn't make something that follows the theme of his own level very well. Like Sanic, his part is painfully generic and doesn't do enough to make it into a tech team part. I mean, he has a decent base with his block design, but it's just too empty. His air deco and background, or lack thereof, is also quite lacking, since both of these aspects are a good opportunity to reinforce the part's theming. The part is also lacking in energy, which is quite a contrast to the song at that part, because the song is full of energy and reaching the climax. There's barely any pulses and color changes, and if there are, it's missing the energy and strength. So I'm gonna have to give the decoration and detailing a 5.84 out of 10, the music sync a 4.77 out of 10, and the theming a 4.52 out of 10, giving an average score of 5.04 out of 10. Is it Lugia? Lugia? Gyat? I mean, well, anyways, this is another underrated part that deserves more attention and love. Lugia's part is very similar to Heinz, using very similar block palettes and using them in a similar manner. The block designs have quite a few interesting patterns, and the air deco is also quite unique, especially at the wave part, which I think is the best section. The harsh glow throughout the part is also a good contrast to the rest of the part, and it really grabs your attention. Overall, a very solid part that I wish went on for longer. So the decoration and detailing is 8.32 out of 10, the music sync will be 7.17 out of 10, and the theming is 9.36 out of 10, giving an average score of 8.28 out of 10.
Who the fuck is this?
I don't know if I'm the only one with this opinion, but Wamik's part gives me some faint cyberpunk vibes. I really can't put my finger on why, but it just screams cyberpunk to me. This part is very similar to Anthrax's part, with a lot of different unique details at every section, but I argue it does it better and also uses color better. I really like the decision to use softer, pastel looking colors, fitting the song very well. There's so many details with the air deco, and I think to this day, this part would fit very well in a modern day level. So for the decoration and detailing, I give it a 9.21 out of 10. The music sync is 8.37 out of 10, and the theming is 9.53 out of 10, giving an average score of 9.04 out of 10. Nazgub's part is such a shame because it has the potential to be really good, but it's just lacking a lot of detail. The block design is a bit too simple, but you can clearly see the attempts and the vision of making them fit the theme. The colors are too similar to Sanic's part in that there's barely any variations, making them all look the same. The background is way too simple, and the ground spikes are very empty, and they could use some detail which would make it more interesting looking. As for the music sync, it barely does that, as this part of the song is very eerie and serious sounding, but the colors and the effects don't really match up with the song. So I gotta give the decoration and detailing a 5.52 out of 10, the music sync 5.89 out of 10, and the theming 6.37 out of 10, giving an average score of 5.93 out of 10. This part is definitely a contrast from Nazgub's part, because this part is actually really good. There's something about the color blue and its variations that really fits with the tech theme, because like Zentic Alpha's part, this whole part uses blue, and it really makes it very futuristic. The block design, spikes and saws, and the air deco is made in a way that really reminds me of some weird alien technology. The spikes especially really makes me think that they're somehow alive, with how the chains are bent very oddly. This is definitely a contender for the best looking part in the level. So decoration and detailing is a 9.43 out of 10, the music sync is 9.10 out of 10, and the theming is 9.75 out of 10, giving an average score of 9.43 out of 10. Damn, that's crazy.
I'm gay.
This is by far one of the most popular parts in any level with how unique it is. Honestly, I don't know how to rate this part because it's unlike any other parts in this level. If you're looking at this part in a vacuum, then the rainbow theming of the part looks really good and gives off a vibe that you're in a utopia from another unfamiliar world with the weirdly shaped and unnatural structures, and the blocks that move around with the rainbow trail around the player making them feel very lifelike. I think the amount of rainbow in this part is good enough because if it's too much, then it could be quite distracting and takes away the focus of the player. But if you put this part in the context of the level, it has nothing to do with technology at all. I mean, the only aspect of this part that faintly resembles the theme is the background, as it looks like an alien city with how angular it looks and the amount of small detail it has. So I think it's a solid part, but it could have focused more on the background and incorporated some aspects of it into the foreground in the block design or the air deco. So for the decoration and detailing, it's a 9.26 out of 10. The music sync is 7.32 out of 10. But unfortunately, the theming, I have to give it a 4.79 out of 10. An average score of 7.12 out of 10. This is another one of those generic looking parts similar to some other parts in the level, but unlike parts like Sanic, Viprint or Nazgub, Speed's part actually has a good amount of detail that follows the theme of the level quite well. The blocks used for the block design is quite simple and generic and uses a weird pink color, but the outline colors of all the objects in this part uses a secondary color and they're quite colorful and eye-catching, which makes it a step above the other generic parts. It also has a decent amount of air deco, though I wish there was more as some parts are quite empty. Overall, a solid part, but nothing really special. So the decoration is 7.26 out of 10, the music sync is 6.77 out of 10, and the theming is 7.94 out of 10, an average score of 7.32 out of 10. Not bad. This part, it aged like fine wine. I mean, do I really have to say anything? It's a punch, of course it's gonna be good. The main attraction of this part is the background deco and the background effect. The background deco has these weird Mario looking pillars that look like 3D models, with the actual model turned off and the wireframe view turned on. The background uses a clever technique that plays around with the perspective, making them look 3D. The background effect with the color filters is also quite simple yet so effective in making the part look attractive and eye-catching. All of this also fits with the song. I mean, I really can't describe it, but the reverb and the clicking sound, if you will, goes well with the background. I mean, I don't know, I guess you gotta hear it to understand what I mean. Also, one thing that I don't see many people talking about, but I really love how Sir Punch prioritizes the details in the background and doesn't clutter the foreground as much. I mean, if he decorated the foreground as much as the background and added some effects to it, I think the player will have a hard time focusing on the gameplay because both the background and the foregrounds are fighting each other for your attention. So yeah, he did really well with prioritizing the part's readability, and I give the decoration and detailing a 9.15 out of 10, music sync is 8.84 out of 10, and the theming is a perfect 10 out of 10. Average score will be 9.33 out of 10. I mean, I'm really struggling to decide whether Galvatron, Sir Punch, or Abstract Dark's part is the best part in the level. This part's block design is highly detailed with angular shapes and intricate lines that look like wiring. It could use more color though, but I really enjoy the ambient blue glow. I think it looks really good. But the main thing that really makes this part top tier is the background and the foreground effect, with the constellation looking things moving from right to left. The foreground objects has a blur effect that I personally don't know how to do in the editor, but it gives the part depth as the blur makes it look like some of the constellations in the foreground is too close to the camera compared to the background, which has a sharper yet smaller constellations, making them appear far away but not too far. If you put this part in a modern day level, I think it would not feel out of place at all and outdated. So the decoration and detailing a 9.42 out of 10. The music sync an 8.41 out of 10, and the theming is 9.50 out of 10, giving an average score of 9.11 out of 10. And this level ends with Terran's part, which is a pretty solid part to end off on. It reminds me of Manic's part with some of the details, but it's less cluttered and has a sleeker look. The colors are bright and fits the energy of the song at the end with good looking pulses and color changes, but this part could use more detail between the structures at the top and bottom of the screen. Minus some smaller structures, details, and the background, the middle of the screen is oftentimes empty and lacks anything, which makes it look a bit rushed, but other than that, a solid part to end off on. So the detailing and the decoration is 7.36 out of 10, music sync will be 7.03 out of 10, and the theming is 7.83 out of 10. So the average score is 7.1 out of 10. So there you go. Those are my ratings and my review for each individual part of Artificial Ascent. Of course, opinions are going to differ, but this is just how I see it and perceive the level. Hope you enjoyed this video, and alright, bye.